Let's talk about people that are like show organizers or event marketers who are hosting their own event, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there's some pretty big host events, 500 people, 1,000 people, 3,000 people, for a lot of companies.
Yeah.
So how can these event marketers or these host organizers, how can they leverage AI? How can they actually actionable ways, simple ways of using it? Like I don't know nearly as much as you do, but like my initial thought would be like, using an AI tool, talking to it to help you create the agenda, right? Like
Yeah.
you're right. Like so give me some examples like and for people who are listening to this to say, okay, I could use it this way. Here's some like simple applications.
Yeah, honestly, the simplest application for specifically generative AI in the planning phase of any event is to never come to a meeting with a blank page. Never come to a meeting where you're starting from scratch. Always come with something. Agenda one's a great example. You could use all of the factors that you know about your event, from previous agendas to hot topics to everything that you want to accomplish with this event, who the audience is. Dump all that in there and say, give me the ideal agenda for this many hours with this many breaks and this and that, and speak in natural language. You don't need to know how to
Yeah.
use a program, and all of a sudden you're going to get something that in my opinion, I kind of describe it like this frequently, is you're going to get B plus material. And I think a lot of people without skills, without experience, like honestly, the new competition we haven't even competed against yet, that's going to be the market, right? There's going to be all these new players that are going to stop at B plus because that's all they really know. And they just put it in, they get this out, and they say, this is what an event agenda is. For the rest of us that have experience, that are striving for, to be competitive, to be the best, that's where our meetings start. So our agendas start like that. Our menus, when we engage with a caterer, we don't come in with a blank piece of paper and say, what do you think this lunch should be? You run all these things in. Is it, does it meet my mission, vision, and values, or does it violate any of those things in the menu? It has to satisfy my mission, vision, and values. It also has to be low carbon footprint. It has to embrace the destination. It has to, be this. And also, by the way, you have to do the same thing for vegans, for this group, for this group, for that group. And then you bring that to the caterer and you say, we're going to start from here. Tell me what you think about this. And now you're starting the conversation at B plus. You're going to get to A plus because they're going to say, that makes me think of something that my grandma did and I really loved. And so they're going to put some heart and some soul into it. And maybe there's a story in there that you can incorporate in your marketing. And now you're having these next level conversations that you wouldn't have had if you had to start with, like, what do you think we should have for lunch?
Yeah.
So every meeting is like that. Production is like that. If you're talking to your AV team, you can look at what you've done in the past, what the redundancies that you never needed to use from a budgetary standpoint. I mean, you can look at a lot of different data
Yeah.
points, and you can also ask, like, what's hot right now, analyze these photos and say, like, what am I looking at here? Like, lots of different opportunities for you to leverage generative AI to take you from starting a meeting with a blank piece of paper, but starting from a much further ahead.
And is it accurate to say, I mean, okay, so you started by saying that a lot of event planners, event marketers, they have a lack of time, right? So this
Totally.
using AI as a tool to be able to go, you're working on ChatGPT or whichever tool saying, hey, you're an event planner and you're planning an event for engineers and the event is in Nashville and you give it all of the information almost as if it's like another person, like an intern that's
It's an
essentially
intern.
doing
It's
the
a
work,
great
right?
way to put
Yep,
it.
that's doing the work for you,
Mhm.
right? You're then, by the way, I stole that intern thing I stole from a podcast that I listened to about AI because I was trying to educate myself, but it is a good example, right? It's saying, hey, you're telling AI, you're an event planner. The event's in Nashville. The event is for mid-level engineers. And then you start detailing as much detail as you can. And you say,
Drop
hey,
URLs of other
yeah,
places that have
put together an
information
agenda
around
for the
those.
day.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
imagine
So
starting from that spot. And then also, like, look at all this content that engineers are writing. Like, what's the hottest topic right now? All of these things, like, and you could design differently and say, I'm going to design most of my show 6 months, 8 months ahead of time. I'm going to leave 10% of it to the last, month, which sounds absolutely terrifying to most organizers. However, if you've got ability to source these topics really quickly, you can get whatever, especially in industries with lots of technology, that there's some topic that came up in the last month. It's actually what people are talking about right now, but because you
Mhm.
program 6 or 7 months out, you missed that. Now you have the opportunity to source what that hot topic is, who those hot presenters are, using
yeah.
social listening tools with AI. I mean, everything becomes fresher and more potent.
Would an idea be to be able to go, using an AI platform, asking about trends, right? You could say, hey, you're hosting an event in Napa. What are the trends going on in the wine industry? What are having that discussion to drag that out to be able to get creative with ideas, with agenda.
Opposite.
I love what
What's
you,
overdone?
I love what you said about menu. Menu
Yeah.
is a great example,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, BEOs can be, you can start at the next level, right? Like there's a lot of variables in there. And like this is the example I frequently give when I'm at presenting on this topic, because I can always find one in the group. And I ask somebody who here is vegetarian or vegan, and inevitably I get one. And then I confirm something that I'm always sure is the case. Have you ever sat down at a 72-inch round and the other 9 people get plated before you and you're waiting and you say, go ahead and eat, it's fine, I'll wait. And inevitably you get that plate down and it's 3 sides, right? So everyone was intentionally designed for, except for you. You feel left out. You don't have a sense of belonging. Your ability to be changed, which is the mission of the event, is compromised, and you don't do it right now. If AI says, I want to make sure that everything that was in these menus from a design standpoint, all the things that we care about, like the message we're trying to underline with this menu and with everything, is also met with this group, you see that inclusion isn't not happening in events, in my opinion, because designers or planners don't care. It's because they don't have time and resources, right? Like they're just designing for the middle because it's faster and it's easier, because that's all they can do. Now you have all these, further groups out that have not been designed for, because you didn't say, now, how would this impact? And you could do that with content. How does this impact the CEO? Would this be something, how would you make this that would be interesting to them too? Then you could start looking at different groups, and asking yourself these questions. That sort of dialogue, that feedback loop that you can have with yourself, but the other person is AI, is pretty fun. Like that's honestly the thing that I use it for the most.